Hello and welcome to this video. It's a little bit different to normal. I turned 40 this month and I thought I would share a little bit about what I have learned in my nearly 40 years as a highly sensitive and neurodivergent person and what I'm still learning. So if you are new to the channel, my name is Nicola. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm also a yoga therapist. I'm highly sensitive and I'm also autistic and ADHD. And yeah, I created this channel to both connect with other sensitives out there, but also to share my passion for therapeutic yoga, seasonal self-care, and how it's really helped me to, I guess, become more me. Okay, so let's start with what I have learned. And I guess some of them are still in the process of learning, but generally I feel kind of secure in these. So the first one, it's a biggie, is I've learned that my needs really do matter. I grew up in a tricky situation. Both my parents are also extra sensitive, neurospicy, maybe don't know it. It was a difficult upbringing. Trigger warning for anybody with a tricky upbringing, that I won't go into loads of detail, but there's a few bits and pieces that I'll share. There was violence in the household, there was mental health issues in the house, and it was quite a tricky time. And so I developed, like a lot of highly sensitive autistic level 1 type girls raised as a female would do, which is over people pleasing, being there for others, tending to other people's needs, being hyper vigilant. I was so hyper vigilant for facial expressions and tone of voice in my house, so that I could, I guess, fix the situation. And in doing so, and like so many women or people who've experienced similar, you forget your needs, and that played out in a number of ways, which I'll go on to a little bit later. But I have gone through a long winding journey, which included a whole host of different things, but I have really learned that my needs matter and that I matter, and that's been really liberating. So that's number one. The second one that I've learned, and it's kind of interlinked, is that my body has the answer and it also keeps the score. So for any one of us, regardless of your wiring, your neurotype, your body's really important, because it's where we're living. It's our first and only home. It's the place we enter into, and it's the place we leave at the end of this crazy ride. And particularly when you're extra sensitive and you tend towards feeling anxiety and overwhelm, these feelings, especially if you struggle to stay in your body, or, relating back to the previous point, you kind of forget yourself a little bit, those feelings will be sat in your body. Any discomfort that you felt or any emotions that you felt, if they haven't been expressed and moved through the body, they will be there waiting for you. And sometimes it will be as tension or a little niggle, or maybe the immune system lowers a little bit and then you end up getting ill. It will be sat there waiting for you. It keeps the score, as I can remember the name, Bessel van der Kolk wrote in his book. Great book if you've not read it. But it also has the answer. So by tuning into my body, by really understanding the feelings that are there, I can let my body and its wisdom lead me, if you like. So this is one of the things that's really key about the kind of slow flow therapeutic style of yoga that I teach and that I love, is it brings you back to your body, where your body has the answer. Your body usually knows what it needs. We just need to get to it, and we just need to listen to it. And that is something that I have deeply learned. The answer is not out there. It is in here. As it, it sounds cliche, but it is totally true. Your body has the answer. The next thing that I've learned is I can say no, and it's so freeing to be able to say no. I might not always just say no. I might say variations of that, like, thank you for thinking of me, but I can't. Well, that doesn't fit with my schedule. or I'm not able to do that right now, or I'm focusing on myself right now, whatever it is, I can say no. And it's not always easy because it depends who you're saying it to. But that connection that I've got to myself, understanding that my needs matter, means that I can say no because I feel more important, I guess. And I also have learned many times over what the effects of saying a yes when I actually meant a no means. It will have a knock-on effect. The other thing that I've learned, or another thing that I've learned, is that my brain and nervous system are wired slightly differently. I understood from about my 20s, but really started to understand deeply in my early 30s that I was highly sensitive. Changed my life, understanding myself through that lens. I finally was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not just an alien from outer space. But then when I received my diagnosis of autism and ADHD more recently, that was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And understanding that my brain and nervous system work differently just helps me to understand me better. There's lots of other things that having that label has helped me with, but it's just helped me to understand me better. And it's holding both that difference in one hand and also remembering that I'm still a fellow human being in the other. So, you know, acknowledging difference and also acknowledging where there are similarities. It's just really helped me, and it gives me permission, even more permission, to give myself what I need. And that's usually a lot of stuff that helps me to regulate my nervous system, because let's be honest, the current modern world, or the culture that I live in, is not neurodivergent friendly. It's not sensitive friendly yet. Hoping it will move on soon, preferably. Okay, the next thing that I have learned is that I am safe in my body. So if you've experienced early trauma like me and you're extra sensitive like me, then it can feel really tricky to come back to your body, which kind of makes this idea of coming back to yourself to understand your needs, which is really important, but it can make that really hard. So it's like you need to come back to your body to figure out what it is you need, but actually coming back into your body is scary. I have learnt that I'm safe in my body. I'm always safe in my body, I know that. But it's taken me a long time and a lot of work to get there, and a lot of continued work as well, actually. And I know what I can do if I start to feel anxious or overwhelmed. I know how to return to that place of safety. That's largely thanks to yoga, meditation, mindfulness, that kind of whole well-being world, really. I've also learned how resilient I am. When you start on any kind of well-being journey and you start, maybe you start with going to a yoga class, or maybe you start with, somatics, or maybe it's, going to your local village hall and doing a meditation or a relaxation class, something that kind of draws you in. It starts you out on a path, and that might lead to other things. So for me, from yoga, which has consisted throughout the whole time, but I've also dabbled in Reiki, and I definitely do talk therapy. I still see my talk therapist. Various other body workers. I've had, massage, acupuncture, and so on. And by doing this, you start to unravel all of the things that have affected you, impacted you, the things that have, caused a challenge for you, that perhaps have set up some kind of limiting belief or really affected your self-confidence. And in doing that, after a while, and this has been quite apparent recently, I've been able to step back and go, oh, okay, wow, I'm really resilient to still be here after all of that. And, I guess trying to share my struggles in the hopes that it might touch somebody else, that's resilience. So yeah. And the last thing, and I could go on for ages really, but I could. But the last thing that I really wanted to share is I've really learned how connected mind, body, spirit is. So connected, you know. The books do not lie. The hunches that you've got do not lie. You know, if I'm having a particular, it never ceases to amaze me how if I'm having a particular bodily issue, pointed to my gut because it starts with my tummy, there's usually, not always, because that would be, you know, ignorant to other influences, but usually there is some thread back to a particular emotion or thought or situation that's been playing out. It settles in the body somewhere. Sometimes it can just be a dodgy chair you've been using at your desk, but other times a little niggle in the back, a gut issue, maybe a migraine that just won't shift. There's often some emotional root somewhere. And this links to our spiritual experience of life as well, because if we are feeling spiritually fulfilled, then the rest slots into place as well. As I really begin to learn how much these things are interlinked, and I think that will continue. So what am I still learning? Maybe you're still learning some of these too. I'm still learning to be kinder to myself. I am very much aware of the inner critic, much more aware than I was. But she likes to speak loudly during certain times, especially if I've made a mistake or there's something that, I just can't, or that I've been accustomed to judging. And that's going to be an ongoing process. Maybe you're the same, but it's a practice. Practicing self-compassion is an action. It's something that you do. And I am now a willing participant. I am all in to practicing more kindness, more compassion for myself. Maybe you are too, I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm still learning to be more mindful of where I put my energy. This is a tough one because I can get excited about a lot of things, and I am still learning how to be discerning with that. I really want to do good in the world. I want to share. I want to speak to these things that I know others are experiencing, but sometimes I can get overexcited about things and put too much energy in one pot, and actually I need to be a bit more discerning. And so I'm learning how to do that, and maybe you resonate. I'm also still learning what I like and what I don't like, and this relates all the way back to what I mentioned at the beginning about when you've grown up in a tricky situation and you've been an extra sensitive person with more unique needs. If you've fallen into that pattern of just thinking about the other, then when you, at some point in your healing journey, and this is I think this probably started for me maybe a year ago, it's like suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, what is it that I actually like and what I don't? And for me, it started with understanding what I don't like. I very much know now what I don't like, and I'm just beginning to understand the things that I do like, and I think that will be an ongoing process, and I'm really looking forward to exploring that more as I move through my 40s. And I guess the other thing that I'm still learning is ways for me to share and express my craft. I love writing and I desperately want to write more, and so I'm still learning how I want to do that. And I think that's part of life, isn't it? It's evolving, always evolving. So that's me. Thank you if you've made it to the end. Bit of a different video, but I was just really wanted to share what I've learned in my nearly 40 years. What have you learned? However old you are, what have you learned so far, and what are you still learning as a sensitive, maybe as a neurodivergent person too? I really, really love to connect with you. It's kind of why I'm here, is to connect with you. So if you've liked this video, of course, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. I talk about all kinds of things relating to self-care for sensitives. And I'd love to have you here. And don't be shy, connect. And until the next video, take care for now.